Hello, welcome into your second preview episode, your week 2 preview episode of the Barking Brown Show. I am your host, Jacob, over at Roachism13 on Twitter, joined, as always, by the wonderful Nick Carnes at Carnesies817. Nick, are you ready to dive into the Houston Texans?
I certainly am. This is going to be fun.
That was our brand new theme song that my wife got on Fiverr for $5. They made it for us. There you go.
Really?
That is our theme song. We have the cool piano intro for the regular show. That is the intro now going forward. And we're going to try to do some video editing, some things with these videos. So I hope that we continue to build off of these and make them even funner. We are drinking Michelob this evening because it's a Michelob kind of evening.
Okay.
Nick's like, no, we're not drinking Michelob. You go for it.
I got tea.
I got tea. I'm not going to do it, guys. We thank you for everything. All the likes, comments, subscribes, YouTube, Spotify, wherever you're listening to us, Apple Podcasts, watching on Twitter. Thank you for everything you guys do for us and giving us some of your time. So let us help you preview the Houston Texans, give you our predictions for this week's games, as well as our record from last week's games, so that we can talk about some of those things. So we will get started with our preview of the Houston Texans. Nick, have you been able to look at all at Houston's game? How much of you dabbled a little bit on the highlights of that, I believe?
Yes, I have. I have been able to look a little bit. I haven't been incredibly in depth, but I looked over all the stats and all of the things that they did. So I feel like I have a pretty good handle on what they did to the Jaguars and kind of assuming what they're going to try to do. Really interesting is, to me, the most interesting part is that Tyrod Taylor threw 33 times and they ran the ball 41 times, right? So very balanced offensively.
Yeah, a very balanced approach. You also have to look into it about how poorly the Jaguars were playing overall.
Mm-hmm.
And it was not great. So we're going to start off the top with PFF grades for Houston across the board. We'll start on the defensive side of the ball. We will then move to the offensive side of the ball, and we'll kind of talk about some keys for the Browns to even it up at 1-1. I don't see any reason in which, unless something goes horribly wrong, they can't even this thing up at 1-1. So we'll start on the defensive side of the ball for the Houston Texans. A guy I still think is a bit underrated. Sit back at safety, your free safety, Justin Reed, number 20. Been a pretty productive player in this league. He graded out as 64.7 last week. Former Brown Eric Murray at your other safety is a 67.2, grading out. The linebackers, the one good one is very, very familiar. Their middle linebacker is the second highest graded linebacker in football for week 1. That was Christian Kirksey, who got an 82.9. One of the many, many, many former Cleveland Browns that you will face in this.
Very weird.
It's a weird thing, isn't it? Then it gets a little bit ugly at the linebacker. Cunningham at the other linebacker spot graded out as the worst linebacker in football last week with a 27.7. He's the 84th ranked out of 84 qualifying linebackers. Grunger Hill is their weak side linebacker. They don't play him a ton at Sam. He's a Sam, not the weak side linebacker. Cunningham is your Will. He played 10 snaps last week. He graded out at 28.1. So there's not a lot of crazy things going on in the linebacker situation. Up front, their defensive line was okay. Collins at D tackle graded out at a 49.3. That's 98th for defensive interior. Blacklock actually was your top 10 at 77.3. Whitney Merciless is probably the best pass rusher, had a 63.7 on the outside. Your other defensive end, 71.1. I do not want to butcher his name, so I'm not going to attempt it. Hargraves, I like Hargraves at corner. He graded out as a 66.8. He was the 29th cornerback. Your other side cornerback, Mitchell, a guy that everybody should be very, very, very familiar with is T. Mitch, Terrence Mitchell at the other corner. He's the 44th ranked cornerback with a 62.4. So you hear all those numbers, Nick. What do you think about those numbers? What do you think matchup wise with the Cleveland Browns about those numbers when you hear those grades?
It certainly sounds to me like, well, so the Jaguars didn't run basically at all against the Texans, and it feels to me at least like the Browns should be able to run against these guys. Not anything thrilling there at linebacker, and granted they have a good defensive tackle, but I felt like they really pushed the Chiefs around, and I would imagine this lends them to being able to run the ball. And Terrence, I want to call him Terrence. I was thinking about Terrence Mitchell, but Trevor Lawrence threw the ball 51 times,
which is just ridiculous for your debut.
Yeah, but even he threw for 332 yards on 28 completions. So it does not overly terrified of the Texans defensively. Kind of either way, really. I would imagine. You know what? I'm hoping that we see a lot more Anthony Schwartz. I think that feels like, Brandon Cooks went like 132 yards, and it feels like Schwartz. I mean, I don't really know how great Brandon Cooks. He's a fine receiver, but I don't think
he's fine. He's fine. He's just he's getting up there.
So to me, it feels like, as far as the Texans defensively, it doesn't seem like they offer, anything. It doesn't seem like there's one player that in particular scares you. Do you feel like there is?
If there was one particular player, it's Brandon Cooks. I like Pharaoh Brown a lot at tight end. I'm sorry, we're on the
defense.
We're on the defense. I totally because I heard you talking about our offensive skill players. I was marking out our picks from last week. So
I said Brandon Cooks, but I was thinking about what I meant. I was talking about the Texans, but what I was trying to cite the receiving yards that the Jaguars had versus them, and then I just flipped it, and so
you flipped it. Okay. So I watched that game against the Jaguars, and I'm going to tell you that it was not, to me, the early struggles, the interceptions, and the reason they built that strong lead against the Jaguars. I watched the film. I've watched the entire game start to finish, and that was on Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence was bad. His passes were inaccurate. He was slow to read the defense. They were playing soft zone coverage, and there was people open in the zone most of the day. I know his first interception, he just flat out was on the run and he floated it over the guy's head, and it was just one of those Sheldrick Redwine happens to be there kind of thing. It's like, oh yeah, he had an interception, but it was because he just kind of happened to be there last week. But I'm not afraid of this defense. I mean, Christian Kirksey, I love Christian Kirksey. He's a tackling machine. I mean, it's usually 7 to 10 yards downfield before he tackles you, but he's a tackling machine if he's healthy. Whitney Merciless at one point was a really good edge rusher, but I these D tackles. If you look at Blacklock, who graded at a 77.3 overall, his run defense grade was a 63. So in last year he graded as a 30.2. So I'm not afraid. You should easily run the ball up the gut on this team. Easily. Okay. I think you should easily run the gut. They've got some ball hawks like Money Mitch, Eric Murray. I like those guys. They can find the ball, but really watching that game, it really felt like that if Trevor Lawrence had just been a little bit better, he could have picked that secondary apart. I don't think they're very good. That's my assessment.
Fair.
Using the numbers, that's my assessment on the defense. I don't think they're very good. All right, man. We've done our assessments on the defense. Let's do the assessment quickly on the offense. These episodes are shorter and more to the point. If you want to hear us get really mad and do some ranting and choose violence, check out this Tuesday's episode with Joey Kinsley, Sir Yacht. We had a lot of fun, lots of laughs, lots of yelling. All right, man. Your offensive line across the board, the guy that what was his name? Bill O'Brien. I couldn't get Bill O'Brien's name out of my mouth very quickly. That he gave up so many picks for Laramie Tunsil. He was a 56.9 last week. Their left guard was 60th out of 65 qualifying guards, a 40.9.
Oh my.
Your center was a 68.4, which was good enough for seventh. Your right guard, a 67.9, and your right tackle was fifth, an 80.9. So he was pretty good. Other than that, nobody broke the 70s. So I'm not that offensive. The Browns should harass Tyrod Taylor all day, I think. Pharaoh Brown, former Brown, 82.8, fifth overall in tight ends. He's good. We'll get kind of to what I saw from Tyrod here in a second. We'll finish through the grades. Brandon Cooks, like we talked about, 74.4. He's probably the biggest threat on that offense. Nico Collins, a guy I loved in the draft. His rookie debut was a 50.9. He had some catchable balls. I just didn't think he played the ball in the air very well. A 71.0 for Danny Amendola and their slot receiver. Tyrod Taylor was the 16th ranked quarterback, right in the middle, which is pretty well where he's been his entire career. A 71.1 passer. 62.26 for David Johnson, and you also have an old Mark Ingram. There's still some power running ability. The Browns need to be ready. Andrew Billings may actually be needed a little bit more. I don't know. Malik McDowell probably tells him, no, go away because of the way he played. That's nothing on Andrew Billings, but it's not as much of an indictment of Andrew Billings as much as it is praise of Malik McDowell and what he did in his debut. So across the board, Tyrod Taylor had a great completion percentage. I think I saw him throw the ball downfield 4 times.
Okay.
Like I'm not looking at actual charted numbers. I watched the film and everything. He's what he's always been. He's not going to take risks. He a lot of his passes were to the right flat. The flat on the right side. He boots out and rolls out to the right. That's what he does. That was the knock on Baker, right? So but that has been Tyrod's knock too, and he is going to. Pharaoh Brown had a high rating for a reason, and he got a lot of opportunities in that game. Brandon Cooks, the one time he did go deep and take a shot, it was to Brandon Cooks, and it was successful. So, I mean, he was successful, but I think he threw the ball more than 15 yards in the air 4 times. I'd have to look up the actual statistic, but watching it, the raw film watching eye, they're not dynamic. They can, if you let them, be death by 1,000 cuts. They put up 37 points. Yeah, it was on Jacksonville. We remember how bad their starters looked against our backups in the preseason. But Tyrod Taylor's a pro. He's been around as long as he has been. They can put up some points, but they're not going to stretch you. So you need to play sound, disciplined football, rush the passer. Don't let Tyrod slide out of the pocket like Mahomes did over and over and over and over again. This line is not as good as Mahomes. They pressured Mahomes 44% of the time. Tyrod doesn't have the ability to make those plays with his arms. He does have the ability to make some of those plays with his legs, but you should handle this offense. They'll death by 1,000 cuts you, but they're not super dynamic.
You know what? I think it seemed, so Tyrod to me succeeds when he gets a run game going, when you can utilize I'm not sure how much they utilize play action, but when Tyrod has the running game going, I think it helps get the offense in rhythm, and when you get, like we cited, you have a balanced attack, it makes a lot of sense. And so I think, to me, and Kansas City didn't really run it very much, but to me, if you play to shut down the run, I think that the offense takes care of itself. Our offense does, and then you go up. Say you get into the double digits up when Tyrod starts to have to throw. Obviously, that offensive line is not going to hold up to Clowney and Garrett. I don't think they will. So I think ideally you put them in situations where Tyrod's got to throw, and then you feast. Because their offense is probably just going to be little bit, and the Browns are just going to take chunks. Right?
The Browns were terrible on third down, both sides of the ball last week. Terrible, both sides. 2 for 7, 2 for 9 on offense. The Chiefs were 9 of 13 on offense, or whatever it was, something like that. If you can put this team, this Texans team in third and long, so third and 6 or 7, 6 plus, I think you win that 75% of the time. That's where I think this offense is. They got playmakers. This is the NFL. Any given Sunday, I get that sort of thing. do not let last week's loss bleed into this week. That is the key. And as long as you don't do that, I have no worries. Nick, last week you were 8-7 in the picks.
Ugh.
I was 5-10.
Oh no.
So like you won all of like the ones that we went differ. I won one of the ones where we differed, and then you won the rest.
Wow.
So I had a really horrible week. I had a really good season last year. Next week, tune into our regular show on Tuesdays. Nick is preparing to make me pay up for our 53-man bet.
I am preparing.
We will do that next week, but I got to figure something out because I can't lose another bet. So we're gonna go head to head now. Let me get. We're gonna do our week 2 picks here, and get rolling. We'll close out our little preview episode, and we will, of course, as we love to do, we will talk to you guys all very, very, very soon on Tuesdays. You can get us on Twitter. We love having some good Browns talk this week. I think we've had a really good Browns Twitter has been a fun place, but I also like get rid of all the naysayers. So we're not going to pick Thursday night game. This is being recorded on a Wednesday, but I don't want anybody to suggest any foul play. So we're not going to do that. I'm hoping my good friend and potentially one of my bosses, I'm hoping his G-men win on Thursday. That I don't think they do, but that's who I will. I'll say right now that if I was allowed to pick, I'd pick Washington. Okay, this is going to be an interesting game because I don't really know where it goes, but right off the top, Nick, we've got the Bengals, we've got the Bears. The Bengals shocked us last week. The Bears have Khalil Mack, and to me, with that offensive line by Cincy was actually pretty well graded against the pass block win rate percentage. They were not in the bottom half like I thought they would, so they impressed me. I don't know really what Minnesota has, so I'm not totally saying that matters. But I'm going to say that Khalil Mack is the difference maker, and I take the Bears to knock the Bengals off their little high horse.
God, the Andy Dalton revenge game, man.
Yes. Yeah.
God, he was so bad versus LA.
I don't understand why Fields isn't out there. I don't.
It just doesn't make sense. But oh man, this hurts me. This is.
Are you going to?
I'm gonna take the Bears. I don't want to take the Bears. I'm gonna take the Bears. I just think they're a more complete team. But oh God, that hurts.
Duh, Bears. All right. So we're in unison that the Browns are the Browns by 3 touchdowns. That's where I'm at.
Agreed.
And I promise I will not pick the Browns every week. I'm not that guy. I genuinely thought they could win last week, and they showed that they
were right there.
The Colts just really disappointed me, and the Rams were exactly who we thought they were. So I'm taking the Rams over the Colts.
I agree. I will also take the Rams. Matt Stafford, man. Hello.
Matt Stafford, man. He just looks healthy and rejuvenated, man. He just looks ready to go. The Dolphins Bills game is a very interesting one because I have the Bills winning the Super Bowl on our preview episodes, and then they looked bad. I don't think that's indicative of who they are. Maybe they won't be quite as good as they were last year offensively, but I do not believe they are as bad as they were last week. So give me the Bills to even the record at 1-1 against the Miami Dolphins.
I agree. I you know what? I watched the Patriots-Dolphins game, and that game was right there for the Patriots to take. So I would also like the Bills.
Patriots-Jets. The Jets, they fought hard. Zach Wilson, I think Zach Wilson's got a real future in this league. I'm not sure he does right now. Mekhi Becton, though, is out. He just went on IR, so he's losing some of his line. In that that Patriots team, they're hungry. And Mac Jones looked pretty good. I give it to Mac Jones. The Patriots just have way more talent.
I agree. Patriots.
So far, we're being boring, and I think we've picked like the favorites in every game. So, after going a little off the rails and going 5-10, I gotta have like a solid week. The 49ers and the Eagles, 2 1-0 teams. Jalen Hurts played really well, but Jimmy Garoppolo looked like a man on a mission with somebody staring over his shoulder. He really played out. Kyle Shanahan lost Mostert again. That breaks my heart for that man. Raheem Mostert. Like, I think he's talented as hell. He just can't stay on the field. He works his ass off, and whenever you see injuries derail a season like that, it's really depressing. But I'm gonna go. Why that Jalen Hurts has the same amount of 300-yard passing games as Lamar Jackson. I saw that today. Give me Jalen Hurts. Give me the Eagles. I'm gonna take the Eagles.
I am a Kyle Shanahan stan, and I am going to ride the 49ers everywhere they go. Give me the 49ers.
All right. Our first split head-to-head there, San Francisco, Philly. Let's go over to the Raiders and the Steelers, man. The Steelers are frauds. Frauds.
God.
Frauds, I tell you.
So are the Raiders.
Their line's not good. Crosby ate Villanueva up on Monday night. I know you hate him, but I'm rolling with the Raiders.
Wow. Oh, man. No, I can't do it. I can't do it. I am taking the stupid Steelers.
Oh, I was like, I could see the internal conflict in Nick, and it was you could see it just battling it. The Saints, the Panthers, I don't. Jameis Winston looked good. Darnold looks like he'll be all right. McCaffrey looked like himself. 98 yards rushing, 89 yards receiving. Jameis Winston had like this really strange press conference afterward, and it was hilarious, and I love the man. He's going to eat some W's, but not this weekend. Give me Sam Darnold and the Fighting Panthers.
Wow. Famous Jameis keeps it rolling with the Saints. Let's go, Saints.
That is okay.
I like Jameis. I've always liked him.
I do enjoy him, the person, for sure. Yeah. So, give me Broncos, Jags. The Jags are just an absolute mess, and Urban Meyer already wants to retire. Give me Denver.
Yeah, Denver. Teddy Bridgewater. You know what? Teddy Bridgewater is like positioned perfectly to succeed. Like, they have a lot of weapons on offense. Their defense is good.
They have some receivers. Gordon looks good right now. Of course, Jerry Jeudy, I thought he snapped his leg in half. Thank God he'll be back this season. The Vikings go against the Red Hot Cardinals and the man with 5 sacks. I know I picked the Vikings to make a playoff run, but they lost to the Bengals, and the Cardinals were just ridiculously good. Give me Arizona. I can't believe they stomped the Titans.
I can't. I'm not picking Kirk Cousins to beat Kyler Murray. I'm just not. DeAndre Hopkins. Oh, baby. No, I will take the Cardinals.
AJ Green. All right, man. We are going into the 4:00 games full force now. We got the Falcons. We got the Buccaneers. They're just not on the same level. Give me the defending champs.
Yeah, I'll take them too. Hoping the Falcons just made a trade to get Calvin Ridley. Hoping the Falcons get their shit together.
They can score some points, but I don't know if they will this weekend. The Cowboys just lost DeMarcus Lawrence for the year. Most of the year. He just broke his foot. So they're fallen further. Their offense is great. I'm not sure what their defense has. I think I'm going to go with the better quarterback and the better coach. I think Herbert is not quite in these toss-ups. I go with the better quarterback, the better coach, but I don't think McCarthy's very good, and Herbert's good enough and close enough to Dak. Give me the Chargers.
I hate the Cowboys. You know what? I picked the Chargers correctly last week. I'm taking the Chargers again.
All right, we have 3 more games. We got the Titans, we got the Seahawks. Until the Titans prove to me that they are not enormous frauds, give me Seattle. Let Russ cook.
Yeah. Seattle played a good game against the Colts. I will also take Seattle.
So can the Chiefs make the Ravens 0-2? You bet your sweet ass they do. I will take the Kansas City Chiefs.
Good luck to Baltimore. 0-2. Have fun with that.
Love it. Lions, Packers, both looked whatever. Goff threw for 338 and some garbage touchdowns. Aaron Rodgers just looked like crap. That just doesn't happen 2 weeks in a row. So give me the Pack.
I will take the Packers as well.
All right, guys, that will do it for our second preview episode. We made you our picks. We're trying to make you some money. We thank everybody. Check out the Patreon, a bunch of exclusive content over there. Roachism13 on Twitter for me. Carnsies817 for Nick on Twitter as well. We will see you guys this weekend.
Yep.
for some great, awesome football. We will be
1-0 or 2
One-
1-1.
1-0 this week, 1-1 overall. We'll see you in Cleveland next Sunday for the Bears game. We will be present. We will see all you crazy heads there. And, we will see you guys next time. So until then, go Browns.
Go Browns.